Go, Cardi. You should be the first one. Go.
You can't get too close.
Now let his kids go. Where's daughter?
Bell, New York.
Yes, sir.
Fresh out the can.
Damn.
Over 18 stretch.
Damn.
They gave me 7 and 5.
Out of here. People don't play with me with that conversation. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing about that. That's the first thing I say. You heard?
Okay.
That's how you feel. That end the deal for anybody. There ain't no Max talking about conversation.
The moment Max B stepped out of prison, it wasn't just another release. It was a seismic shift in the streets of New York. Fans had been counting down the years, watching his story unfold through headlines, interviews, and mixtapes, and now the man behind the wave was back in real time. But not all eyes were welcoming. Sources say Jim Jones, someone who once called him a brother, is reportedly unsettled by this sudden resurgence. The tension isn't just nostalgia, it's personal history colliding with present-day fame. Fans have been reacting, speculating, and resharing every sighting Max didn't ease into freedom quietly. He claimed it loudly, staking his return as both personal victory and public spectacle. The question hanging in the air, how will the figures from his past respond now that he's fully back in the game?
Where Ivy at? They ain't know we was out this early.
From the moment Max B hit the streets, he moved like a man reclaiming lost time. Public sightings weren't random, they were strategic. One moment he's browsing jewelry, the next at a birthday celebration, then clubbing, and suddenly courtside at a Jets game. It's as if the city itself had become a stage for his comeback. Reports suggest social media was ablaze within hours, with fans speculating on every move, dissecting outfits, watches, and even the company he kept. This wasn't just freedom, it was a statement. He wasn't just back, he was back with intent, reclaiming presence, respect, and relevance. And in the shadows of this resurgence, old rivalries quietly stirred. Jim Jones, the man whose path had intertwined with Max's for years, reportedly felt the pressure of this new spotlight. The streets were watching, the internet was watching, and the question remained, would history repeat itself, or had Max truly evolved past the chaos of his past?
I feel righteous.
Damn.
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
I know what it is. I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm thankful.
Love that.
God is good.
What makes Max B's return even more explosive is the sheer scale of anticipation. Over a decade in prison didn't dull his influence, it amplified it. Public sources note that fans had been following every development of his sentence reductions, every rumor, every throwback track, and every mention in the hip-hop community. Now, stepping out, he became a living headline, an event that demanded attention. His presence sparked discussions not only about music, but about loyalty, power, and legacy. But with every camera flash and social media clip, the tension thickened. Jim Jones, once aligned with Max, was reportedly unamused. Sources say old wounds resurfaced, and online chatter began to hint at a brewing conflict. Fans speculate that Max's high-profile appearances weren't just about celebration, they were a deliberate signal to the industry and to the people who had shaped his earlier path. The key question, could old rivalries survive the heat of this new spotlight?
A-lister.
Okay.
Anybody that got a sack, pause. Look me up, I'm gonna get you right.
The roots of tension between Max B and Jim Jones run deep, stretching back to Harlem's mid-2000s era. According to public sources, the two were once inseparable. Studio sessions, street presence, and shared ambitions tied them together. Max B, fresh from an earlier stint in prison, brought a fresh sound, blending melodic hooks with a raspy, wavy flow that fans immediately gravitated to. Jim Jones, at that time, reportedly leaned heavily on Max's creative influence, a fact that would later fuel speculation and whispers across the city. But as Max's star began to rise, insiders say cracks formed, rumors of tension emerged, fans speculate about creative disputes. Questions of credit and the unspoken battles behind the music sources indicate that while Max was being celebrated for his contributions, the business dynamics were shifting, leaving both men in a delicate, competitive position. And as Max B returned to the streets after 16 years, that same energy, this mix of admiration and rivalry, was reigniting in real time. The critical question now, could past loyalty survive the glare of modern fame?
When he gets
Max B.
Okay.
Max, I'm dick. Fuck out of here.
All right.
Max B's early rise wasn't just musical, it was a masterclass in street strategy. According to public sources, he quickly became the linchpin behind Jim Jones's hits, lending his voice, hooks, and creative instincts to tracks that would define an era. Fans speculate that Max's influence on the Dipset sound was massive, shaping the anthems that echoed through Harlem and beyond. Yet, behind the scenes, business arrangements and personal disagreements reportedly sowed seeds of tension that would later explode into full-blown disputes. Even as his music took Harlem by storm, Max B faced pressures from all sides. Sources say legal entanglements, personal relationships, and the street code he navigated contributed to the complexity of his journey. And while fans were cheering his lyrical genius, the interpersonal fallout quietly unfolded. This backdrop is essential to understanding why Jim Jones's reaction to Max's return isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. The tension isn't manufactured, it's the product of years of intertwined ambition, loyalty, and betrayal.
Get my room so I can ram it up his ass. Pause. And ram the boom, I hit him. So he did all this. My car, right? My window was there, he tried to grab me. So when he came in the window, I punched him in the face.
By the time Max B and his circle started making moves in Harlem, the stakes were higher than just music. Public sources suggest that legal troubles, street credibility, and the pressures of fame all collided to create a combustible environment. Max's involvement in controversial situations, like the infamous Fort Lee Hotel incident, added layers of risk and notoriety. Further complicating his relationship with Jim Jones. Fans speculate that these events contributed to the widening gap between the two once close collaborators. Even behind bars, Max B's influence didn't fade. According to public sources, his lyrical contributions, creative ideas, and unique persona continued to ripple through Harlem's hip-hop scene. Meanwhile, Jim Jones surged in visibility, hitting mainstream success with tracks like We Fly High, a record Max B later claimed creative credit for. The dynamic of their relationship shifted from brotherhood to rivalry, a storyline that now comes alive again as Max re-enters the streets. The looming question: how will these unresolved tensions play out in the era of social media scrutiny and instant headlines? Even as Max B returned to the streets, it became clear that the landscape had shifted dramatically around him. The city that once cheered for his every hook was now a stage layered with scrutiny, digital commentary, and the lingering shadows of past conflicts. According to public sources, every appearance was dissected, from casual outings to public performances, with fans and industry observers alike measuring not just his presence, but the implications of his every move. There was a quiet tension in the air, a feeling that something more than music was unfolding, an intersection of legacy, reputation, and unresolved rivalry. Max's careful navigation of this new environment suggested a deep awareness of the stakes. While social media amplified every moment, he reportedly remained deliberate, stepping into public spaces with measured visibility and conscious strategy. Fans speculate that this approach was not merely about maintaining relevance, but about reclaiming narrative control, establishing that his return was guided by intention rather than impulse. Each event, each post, seemed to send a calculated signal. The wave was back, and it would be led on his terms. Jim Jones's response, or lack thereof, added another layer of intrigue. Observers noted a notable silence, one that carried weight in the culture of hip-hop where absence often speaks louder than words. Some interpreted it as avoidance, others as strategic patience, and according to public sources, both scenarios fueled speculation in comment sections and on forums across the internet. The silence itself became a focal point, prompting questions about the dynamics of respect, rivalry, and the long-term consequences of past disputes finally colliding with present realities. Meanwhile, the impact on the broader hip-hop community was immediate. Reports indicate that newer artists, many of whom were influenced by Max B's melodic cadence and stylistic innovation, began highlighting his enduring relevance. The wave he built had not eroded during his incarceration. It had persisted in cultural memory and musical DNA. Interviews, freestyles, and social media shoutouts repeatedly traced inspiration back to his distinctive sound. signaling a generational bridge between the era of his initial rise and today's landscape. This generational echo added complexity to his comeback, as Max B wasn't merely reclaiming his position, he was reconnecting with a musical lineage that had evolved in his absence. The interplay of past and present became particularly acute when examining the tension with Jim Jones. Allegedly, years of disputes over creative credit and business control continued to inform public perception. Fans speculated intensely about how ownership of songs, royalties, and influence intersected with personal loyalty and professional rivalry. According to public sources, every handshake, every photo, and every comment in public forums was being interpreted through the lens of their shared history. The result was a heightened narrative where music, streets, and social media all converged to create a storyline that was both immediate and rooted in years of unresolved conflict. Amid this backdrop, Max's relationship with French Montana gained renewed significance. Their previous collaborations, reportedly rooted in shared ambition and mutual understanding of the stakes in Harlem's competitive environment, now carried symbolic weight. Fans speculate that any reunion, casual or formal, could not only reintroduce Max to the modern scene, but also shift the balance of influence in the local and digital music spheres. Each shared post, each nostalgic nod, and each hint at collaboration became a measured assertion of presence and potential power. This carefully managed visibility underscored a larger lesson. Survival in the industry often required not just talent, but strategic awareness of timing, optics, and alliances. At the same time, the internet's reaction was relentless. Public commentary sections, fan threads, and online discussion boards lit up with speculation, admiration, and critical analysis. Social media became both a stage and a magnifying glass, capturing the minutiae of Max's movements while simultaneously amplifying narrative tension. According to public sources, even minor appearances, grabbing a meal, attending a small event, were interpreted as statements about his priorities, his confidence, and his readiness to reassert his role in hip-hop culture. Every observation added layers to a public story that was simultaneously personal, performative, and symbolic. Max's calculated re-entry also underscored the broader evolution of fame itself. Unlike his earlier career, where word-of-mouth, mixtapes, and localized influence shaped perception, the current era introduced instantaneous global scrutiny. Allegedly, the combination of social media platforms, viral content, and commentary culture meant that each decision could reverberate far beyond Harlem, creating stakes that were unprecedented compared to the mid-2000s. Fans speculate that Max's careful curation of public appearances reflected not only awareness of these dynamics, but a tactical approach to reclaiming not just a personal narrative, but cultural resonance in a transformed industry. Despite the heightened pressure, Max B reportedly retained a sense of measured confidence. Sources suggest that he approached interactions with peers, fans, and industry figures with a mix of strategic warmth and quiet assertion, signaling both accessibility and command. Observers note that this balance between visibility and restraint demonstrated a deeper understanding of reputation management, an awareness that influence in modern hip-hop is as much about perception as production. The calculated pacing of his return seemed to reinforce that his presence was deliberate, not reactive, a stark contrast to the chaotic intensity of earlier years. All of these dynamics converged to create an atmosphere in which Max's return was both celebrated and scrutinized. Commentators and fans alike speculated on how long-lasting the impact of his reemergence would be, and according to public sources, even minor interactions were analyzed for indications of future collaborations, conflicts, or shifts in loyalty. In a sense, Max's every move became a narrative experiment where the streets, the industry, and the digital audience collectively observed, interpreted, and reacted in real time. And as Max continued navigating this landscape, it became clear that the story was about more than music or rivalry. It was about legacy, identity, and the assertion of agency. After years of being constrained by circumstance, public sources suggest that the lessons of incarceration, betrayal, and survival informed not only his demeanor, but his strategic approach to career and relationships. Each calculated appearance, measured statement, and controlled interaction reinforced the idea that Max B was not simply returning. He was redefining his role in the story of New York hip-hop and beyond. The streets and digital spaces alike seemed to recognize this shift. Fans speculated that his return could alter the cultural hierarchy, influence new waves of artists, and reassert the importance of authenticity and creative ownership. Meanwhile, Jim Jones' continued silence reportedly amplified the intrigue, creating a sense of anticipation that extended beyond the immediate feud. According to public sources, every action or inaction was being interpreted as a tactical choice, with implications for both reputation and influence. Even as speculation swirled, Max B's approach remained methodical. Each public engagement was layered with intention, each post carefully timed, each public smile and handshake analyzed for subtext. Fans noted that the juxtaposition of his freedom and his strategic restraint created a tension-filled narrative. Here was a man whose return was historic, yet whose every action was laden with consequence. The duality of celebration and calculation defined the early chapters of his comeback, creating a storyline that was at once thrilling, complex, and instructive. Ultimately, Max B's story upon release illustrates more than personal triumph. It reflects the evolving nature of influence, loyalty, and legacy within the cultural fabric of hip-hop. Allegedly, the past year's movements, strategic alliances, and careful public positioning demonstrate a figure who has not only survived systemic challenges, but learned to navigate them in a way that amplifies voice, agency, and impact. Fans speculate endlessly about what comes next, and according to public sources, every new sighting carries the weight of decades of history, both celebrated and contentious, and don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.